And today our adventure begins right here on the Catawba River. And that right there, my friends, is called Lookout Dam. And the reason I'm starting my vlog out today is because this area was a very big part of my teen years. I used to love fishing. And me and my friends, when we would get out of high school in the evenings, which was only probably less than a 10-minute drive from this location, we would come out here and do some fishing. Had a lot of fun right down there on that little island. And good times. This place has definitely changed a lot over the years. Good evening, my friends. Welcome back to the channel. Hitch, Hiking, Yeti here. Thank you so much for joining me today. If my voice sounds a little bit different today, it's because I have been battling a sinus infection this past week. But feeling really good today, feel way better. And I had to get out today because it was just so beautiful. So I came out here, we're gonna enjoy some clear blue skies, 77 degrees temperatures, and go check out the small town of Catawba, which I've never been to before. And it's just right across the river here. And I think that's gonna be a lot of fun. But before we head over to Catawba, we're gonna go make a quick stop at a kind of a hidden covered bridge, a hidden gem, if you will, here in Catawba County, right across the way. I'm actually in Iredell County, so when you cross the river, then you're in Catawba. And we're gonna go there and check out a place called the Bunker Hill Covered Bridge, which dates back in the late 1800s. Should be a good one. If you have a coffee in hand, as I do, cheers to you. Let's go ahead and get our day started. Thanks for coming along for this little adventure. Good to have you here. Before we leave Lookout Dam, I wanted to kind of throw this little nugget out. Is back in the day, I can remember back in the early 80s, walking across like a trestle bridge right here in front of Lookout Dam. And a little remnants is still here because you can see the concrete, the broken concrete right here. That's what's left of the road. But yeah, man, there was a big bridge that stretched all the way across here. It was pretty cool to walk across it, and you look to the right and you can see Lookout Dam. And when it rains a lot, it looks like Niagara Falls because all the water just cascades over the dam. But there's a little remnants down there in the water also. You can kind of see some footpaths that stretches across the river. There's like 3 of them. And that's where the old bridge used to set, right there. I almost forgot about that until I just happened to look over when I was walking up the hill here, and I looked down and I seen that broken concrete, and I thought, wow, I remember a time when there was a bridge here. All right, speaking of bridges, let's go ahead and make our way toward the Bunker Hill Covered Bridge. All right, I've made it here to the Bunker Hill Covered Bridge. See, they have a little parking area here. They have definitely changed this place quite a bit since I was here last, because I definitely do not remember this bridge being here. They have like walking paths all around this creek. This is pretty neat, actually. They've really stepped their game up. But we're just gonna just follow the creek back here to the bridge, and then I'm gonna tell you a little bit about the history of the bridge. Okay, so welcome to the Bunker Hill Covered Bridge. This is one of only 2 original covered bridges left here in North Carolina, still surviving. The other one I think is called Pisgah Covered Bridge, which I've been there before too in the past. But this one right here is really awesome because it's kind of off the road a little bit. I think Pisgah, when you drive by it, you can just see it on a bridge. You can just see it off to the side, but this one here, you actually have to kind of hike to get to it. And this bridge was built in 1895 after the Catawba County Commissioners in 1894 asked nearby landowners to erect a crossing over Lyle Creek, which you see right down there, to give them a route. Because I can imagine back in this day, when you have like horse and carriages, this creek right here probably wasn't very easy to get across. I can tell you one thing, this bridge has a lot of graffiti, you know, on the walls. Why do people have to do that? I just would never understand graffitiing up a piece of history like this. And the cool thing about this bridge, it makes it so awesome, I think, is this is how they keep it together. See this like wood, this round part right here? This is what they call a wood pin. So there's no bolts, screws, nails. It's all held together old school, the wood pins. Check that out up there. You can see some up there also sticking out. That's the old way. Such a cool design to use the wood pins like that. Yeah, they're scattered all over this thing. You can find these wood pins that hold it together. You will not find any modern screws or anything like that on this bridge. So I walked over here to the side and just want to let you know, originally this bridge was built as an open, uncovered bridge. It wasn't until the year 1900 that a roof was added to make it a covered bridge. And at that time, it was like a wooden shingle bridge. And then in 1921, the original wooden shingle roof was replaced with a tin roof that you see this very day. The bridge was listed on the National Register of Historic Places in 1970 and later designated a National Historic Civil Engineering Landmark by the American Society of Civil Engineers in 2001, a rare honor for such a modest rural structure. Back in 1985, the property was donated to the Catawba County Historical Association, which took on the stewardship of the structure. A major restoration was completed around 1994, bringing the bridge back to near original condition with the help of experienced traditional bridge wrights. So as I stand here on the other side of the bridge looking back, I gotta say, you get some really thick, like Sleepy Hollow vibes here. You remember that movie Sleepy Hollow come out around 1999 or 2000, starring Johnny Depp as Ichabod Crane, and he goes across a covered bridge and the headless horseman like chases him. That's the vibes I get from this thing. I mean, look at that. I bet if you come out here at night, I bet it is pretty creepy being around an old covered bridge like this. If it's real quiet, you listen real close, I wonder if you could hear some old frogs going, Ichabod, Ichabod. All right, so that will pretty much do it here for the Bunker Hill Covered Bridge. Let's go ahead and make our way over to the town of Catawba now and check that out. I'm really excited to get over there and check out that little old town. And welcome to the town of Catawba. Incorporated in 1893, it says depot built here at siding on Western North Carolina Railroad, 1859. Village was organized as Catawba Station, 1872. Market center for locally produced tobacco and flour, incorporated as town of Catawba in 1893. Base for building nearby Lookout Shoals Dam, 1914. Which is very interesting because that's where we started the vlog out today, was at Lookout Dam. Now, Lookout Dam is also called Lookout Shoals, and the lake that the dam produced, you know, where it dammed up the water, is called Lookout Shoals Lake. So kind of interesting that I started the vlog out there, not on purposely knowing that it was going to be on this placard right here. So let's go ahead and walk into the downtown area of Catawba and see what else we can learn along the way. Now, I find it fascinating today that this is the first time I've ever been to Catawba, and this is the corner of 1st Avenue Northwest and 1st Street Northwest. I don't think of all the towns I've ever visited, I've ever seen two first anything connected like this, 1st Ave and 1st Street. And right here at the corner of those, you will find the Catawba Town Hall, which the name Catawba actually is named after the Catawba River. That's how the town got its name, which runs along the eastern edge of it. The river and county name recall the Catawba people, which is a Native American tribe who once inhabited the Piedmont region here in the Carolinas and beyond. So right here next to the town hall is the Catawba Police Department. Very fitting. And the population for the town of Catawba is 588. Very small town. And the median age is 49.3. So the town of Catawba has Native American roots. Long before European settlers arrived here in this area, the Catawba Nation lived along the Catawba River. They were among the most prominent southeastern Siouan-speaking tribes, with a culture deeply tied to farming, hunting, fishing, trading, The tribe's ancestral lands stretched across what are now parts of North Carolina, South Carolina, and Virginia, and they played a significant role in early regional trade routes. So there is a garden located right here next to the police station. It's very nice. Got a little remembrance stone up here. Town of Catawba First Responder Garden of Honor, dedicated to all first responders who help and serve our communities every day to make our lives safer, especially those who made the ultimate sacrifice, dedicated May 20th of 2023. Yeah, that's nice. Now look at that old relic right over this fence right there, that old Coca-Cola sign right there. And right beneath it, it says Snipes Grocery. How awesome is that? That is pretty rad. So I want to continue on talking a little bit about the early settlement here in this area. So European descendants, settlers began migrating into regions in the mid-1700s, attracted by the fertile land in Catawba River Valley. Many were German and Scottish immigrants who had first settled further north and then moved southward. Catawba Station emerged as a stop along the Western North Carolina Railroad around 1858, making it one of the earlier railroad points between Salisbury and Asheville. Over time, this attracted more settlers and commerce. The station was incorporated as a town on March 8, 1872, and was formally named the town of Catawba on February 8, 1893. And my goodness, what an awesome mural. I mean, when you come to a small town and you see a big, bright, colorful mural like this, Pepsi Cola, 5 cents bottle, look at that. Welcome to historic Catawba, established in 1893. It's just so awesome. That is beautiful. Oh, my little niece would be so jealous, and my wife. They both, for whatever reason, get such a kick out of these. When I'm traveling, they're in the car with me, and they see these, they just cackle and laugh. They'll say, I want one of those. I want one of those at home, just to put out their window where they can sit there and laugh at it all day. Yeah, we're a strange bunch, but that Snipes Coca-Cola sign we just seen a few minutes ago, it said Snipes Grocery. It was around the backside of this brick building right here. And look at that, it's an old drugstore. Look at that old neon sign up there. That's beautiful. It's actually owned and illuminated. That is beautiful. Check this out. They have ice cream inside. That is pretty snazzy. And check out this gym, Pop's Old Company Store and Tavern. This is very rustic and awesome. It's not open today, but you can tell it does a business. It's very, very nice inside. I try to look in and show you a little bit, but there's so much sunshine and glare today, it's kind of hard to see. But they definitely probably have a good time in that place. So a large part of the downtown area here in Catawba Historic District features buildings from the late 19th and early 20th centuries, reflecting the town's early commercial and residential growth. The district was added to the National Register of Historic Places in 1986. And look at this, it says Historic Sherrill Tobacco Company, 1896 on there. That is very pretty, very beautiful. Very like Disney-esque carriage ride right there, if I do say so myself. Ah, that's such a bummer. They did have a coffee shop here, Taste of Catawba, Coffee and More, which unfortunately, they're closed today while I'm in town. Closed Sundays and Mondays. Yeah, that's a bummer. I could actually go for another cup of coffee about right now. Right here we got another location. It's called Junction, established in 2023. So very new, only about 3 years old. Drinkery and live music. So now we're going to dive into the numbers of this town. Let's check out demographics first. So 74.32% is white, 22.45% is black, 0.34% is American Indian, and 1.7% is mixed race, followed up by 1.19% is other race. So then when we look at income per capita here in the town of Catawba is $23,418, which is definitely below the North Carolina 26,779 and the national at 29,829. And then the one I like the most is always the median household income, $38,750, which once again is quite a bit below the $48,256 of North Carolina and the $55,322 of the national average. Then when we scroll down a little bit, you see the poverty level is 17.0%, which is pretty much on par with the 16.8 of North Carolina and slightly above the 15.1 for the national. Now let's look at crime. The crime rate here in Catawba is 2,908 per 100K, or 2.9 per 1,000, which is definitely quite a bit, it's a little bit above North Carolina and the national. Not grotesquely above, but it is definitely higher. So when we break that down in percentages, it looks like this. The total crime is 37% higher than the national average. The violent crime is 30% higher than the national average. And the property crime is 39% higher than the national average. So earlier in the video, we was saying that there's less than 600 people that call this place home. And it is very small. Just along this main street, you have these historic buildings. You can definitely tell a lot of natural architecture is being preserved here in this area. But there's one more stop I want to go to before we leave this area. It's a place called Murray's Mill, and that is just outside of town. And it is it actually preserves an early mill-related buildings that tell the story of local economic life in the late 1800s and the early 1900s here in this region. So it's a big part of this town, so we'll definitely have to go and make a little pit stop there before we wrap things up today. All right, so I made my way through the little downtown area here, very small little community. They do have this Lutheran church located right here at the end of Main Street. They got a Catawba food store over here with like a gas station. And they got some houses down here that looks like they got a little age to them, but very nice, nothing run down, really pretty. But right across the way there, you see that sign that says Murray's Mill. And that's where I definitely want to be headed next. We're going to head over to Murray's Mill. So less than 3 miles away from the town of Catawba is this location, Murray's Mill Historic District, which was originally built in 1913. And check out this old millstone they have out here right beside the sign as you enter the property. And this is what it looks like. It's a little mill village down here. Let's go down here and walk around and see what we can see. Okay, so right here is a map to give us a little lay of the land, let us know what stuff is. We're actually right here. They got stuff marked like G, S, and M. B, right here's the Murray's Mill Pond. Got some pictures up here of different images that we might see along the way. Got a little key over here, it says Murray's Mill. Murray's Mill and General Store and Murray Barn, which is on private property. Probably won't be gathering over that way if it's private property, but definitely want to see what the general store looks like, and definitely the mill. That's kind of why I'm here today. Okay, so right here is the main mill building, which was constructed by John Alexander Murray along Balls Creek in rural Catawba County, operated as a water power grist mill and grinding corn and wheat for local farmers. And over time, other additional buildings were added, including this really neat looking general merchandise store right here on the creek. Wow, and this here is what is left of the paved road that used to lead across this old rustic bridge that went right by the old grist mill. How cool is that? So this site remained in operation for decades after it was opened and is now preserved as a historic landmark showcasing early 20th century rural industry here in North Carolina. Yeah, this is cool. Really, really awesome. Look at this old drink Coke cooler they have in here. Look at that. All those Coca-Colas, AW root beers in there. A lot of bottled drinks. Very nice little candy shop. Oh man, deluxe ice cream. I remember that from my childhood. Very rarely ever see deluxe ice cream, and it looks very rare today too, as there's nothing in there. They do have a nice little assortment of candies. My wife is a big fan of those right there, by the way. Charleston chews. This is really, really cool. The old meat slicer right there. They also have some Murray Meal sweatshirts right here, along with all kinds of little decorative things that you could buy. Some walking canes, which there is quite a few trails here in this area, that's for sure. All this woodwork, all these wood pottery bowls. It's really cool. Wow, look at that. Look at that pumpkin. That's almost frightening. And look at that pumpkin. He's so hungry, he's eating another little pumpkin. He looked terrified. So I made my way inside of the general store for a moment. Just wanted to kind of browse around to see what was on the inside. There was a lot of people in there and it was very small, so I did not film too very much while I was in there. But I did ask the young lady that worked inside when the mill ceased operations, when they stopped, and she said it was 1967 was the last time they actually did like mass production. Now the mill still works to this very day, and they make, you know, they grind and do grist mill stuff, and they actually will sell it inside the store. But she said right now the mill is not working because it's on vacation. In other words, it's getting a little TLC right now, a little maintenance. All right, I think that is going to pretty much wrap it up here at Murray's Mill, just outside of the town of Catawba, North Carolina. Had a great day today, a nice little outing, absolutely beautiful weather. Couldn't ask for better weather to come out here and have a little vlog, learn a little bit today about the town of Catawba. Got to see some cool stuff, learn a little bit, and this is pretty epic. What an awesome meal that you could actually come and take tours of and all that good stuff and learn yourself about it. Look at all that water cascading over the dam. The young lady inside, they had some pictures on the wall I wish I could have showed you, but it was of Hurricane Helene, where all this was submerged up on the columns of this bridge right here behind me. I would have been underwater during the floods of Hurricane Helene. But all that being said, I'm really done today. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, friends, I am the Hitchhiking Yeti, and I will see you on my next adventure. Y'all stay safe, and I hope to see you all again soon. This is a good one. One last shot of the big water wheel right there. Kind of shame I couldn't see it actually turning. It's always next time. That's the story of my life. They're always next time.